Hi, Amna. Hello, Maha. Ibrahim. Hi. Let's wait for a couple of minutes for others to join because it's still 3:56. The webinar is supposed to start at 4. Vidya, welcome. Shamsa, welcome to the webinar. Hello, Abdul. Abdul, do you have a question? You've raised your hand. You can use the chat if you want. Hi. Hello, Mr. Anand. Okay, Amna, I'll do that. I'll give you my email. Welcome, Dr. Alia. Hello, Safa. While welcome. So, good afternoon, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. I am Richa Goyal, and we are here today to discuss how to write effective academic resumes for college applications. Before we begin, I would explain a few ground rules to you. So, all of you can use the chat box. Can you see the chat box? You can use this chat box to answer my questions, to participate during the webinar, and to ask any questions if you have. Okay, so chat box is to be used. But in case you want to use the mic, you want to talk to us, then you have to raise your hand. If you raise your hand, I'll allow you to speak. Right now, all of you are muted, so you'll have to raise your hand for asking for permission to speak. Okay? So I'm going to share my screen and I have a presentation to share with you. So I'm going to share my desktop, and I hope you can see my presentation here. Great. Okay. So, what is a resume? Who will tell me? What do you understand by a resume? What is the meaning of a resume? And probably also tell me how it's different from a CV. What's the difference between a CV and a resume? Anyone? Um, Resume is part of job application. That's right. Very good. Uh, we are going to use Dr. Alia. We are going to use chat box. We are not using Mentimeter today to keep it simple for everyone to participate. Very good, Mustafa. Thank you. Resume is shorter than a CV. So resume is something which you include either in your job application or in your college application also. You can include a resume. Resume is typically shorter than a CV. CV is for academic purpose. That's a good answer. Resume will be shorter. Now, okay, to make the difference clear, CV is a Latin word. CV is curriculum vitae, which in Latin means course of life. Resume is a French word, and in French, it means a summary. Okay, so one is the course of life and the other is summary. So as you have appropriately pointed out, your CV is going to be longer than your resume because resume is just a short summary. Now, if you apply for a job or if you apply for admission in college, do you think that the people who are going to read your resume or CV would have the time to read pages and pages? What do you think would be more appropriate if you want it to be read? Your course of life, full description of whatever you have done, or just a short summary? Resume, that's why, yes, is better. A summary is better because it's more reader friendly, which is why we use a resume these days. Okay. Now, what are the sections of a resume? What would you include in your resume? What are the typical sections? You're going to write your resume. Today, we are going to learn our efforts. Very good. A summary of what you have done. Nice. Your qualifications, your education, your experience, your professional summary. Very good. Your skills. Very nice. Achievements. Amazing. So these are all the sections that will go in your resume, but we also have to keep it short. So we have to use the art of creating an effective resume. And there are some tips that I'm going to share with you today to do that. Now, why do you think it's important to write an attractive resume? We can say resumes are us, like you have toys are us and homes are us. You can also say resumes are us. Yes. So you write an attractive resume, very good, while to stand out from the crowd. When you write a good resume which stands out, you automatically stand out. Yes. A resume also is a reflection of who you are. Now, I have prepared this PPT for you. Imagine this PPT has lots of errors on it, or it's clumsy, or it's too long and wordy. What would you think about me? You are meeting me for the first time through this presentation, and the presentation is messy. It's not what you expect. You'll think I'm not qualified to do the job. Very good. Wael and Safa, thank you. Thank you for your response. So yes, you will make an impression about me. So your resume is your first interaction with the college or with the employer. All right. So it's very, very important that you make that first impression correct. And by looking at your resume, the person would be able to tell whether you are neat, well organized or not. If your resume is good, it does not have any errors, the reader will be able to tell that you can pay attention to detail, that you're careful and competent. On the other hand, if your resume is not good, they'll think that you as a person are careless, that you don't have the qualifications required for the job or for the position. Okay. Now, also, you should show through your resume that you respect the reader. How can you do that? If you do a neatly designed resume, the reader will also think that you respect them. That's why you have worked so hard. You have spent time to make your resume reader friendly, to make it easy for them to read. Yes? Very good. Thank you so much. Mr. Ansam, welcome. Okay. Now, let's do a quick quiz. All you have to do is you have to type T or F in the chat box. T for true and F for false. So, the first question, it's always a good idea to include a photo in your resume. True or false? True, 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 true. Okay. True. Okay, that's interesting. This response is really interesting. False. Jumana says it's false. Okay. Now, another question, it's not there on the slide, but I just want to hear from you. Don't you think if you include a photo on the resume, it might lead to some kind of a bias, like gender bias, age bias, appearance bias? Yes, it will, right? So do you think it's okay to have a photo on the resume which might lead to some kind of bias? Not really, if the interviewer is actually professional. Good answer. Yes, no, okay. So it's something subjective, and whether or not it won't affect the process, it might affect the process, we don't know. But you should better try to understand whether the person who you are sending your resume to or the institute requires a photo or not. Okay. If the institute does not require a photo, you do not have to attach your photo there. Okay. Only if a photo is asked for, should you provide your photo. Is that okay? Now, second. Yes. Second, the longer your resume is, the better it is. True or false? False. False, 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 false. Okay, unanimously false. Very good. Okay. You should always tell the truth on your resume. It depends. Okay. It shouldn't be very long. Okay. You should always tell the truth on your resume. Yes. 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 Why should you tell the truth? What will happen if you say something wrong on your resume? It is found that many people try to twist the truth. They tell half lies on the resume to get selected. Why is it a bad idea to do that? Lose credibility. Amazing, Safa. Very good. See, uh, we remember dishonest people, don't we? Remember, look at all the people you know and tell me if you've ever forgotten a person who has spoken a lie to you or who did some act of dishonesty with you. Now the thing is that it's a part of our survival instinct to never forget people who are dishonest, isn't it? So they'll definitely, yes, Jumana, thank you for your answer. They are going to discover it in the interview. The process does not end here. The aim of the resume is not to get you the position you are looking for, not to get you a coveted position in a university, or not to get you the job. The resume is just to get you the interview. And if you lie there during the interview, they'll find out, and they're always going to remember you as a dishonest person, and you'll earn a bad name for yourself. So it's not a good idea to tell lies on your resume. Okay, last question. Presentation and small mistakes don't matter. It's the content that's important. Look at the sentence very carefully. So the sentence says that small mistakes on resume do not matter at all. Content is important. False, false. Yes, it does matter. We just discussed that everything you do on your resume is a representation of who you are. So if you're making mistakes on your resume, it automatically translates into you being a careless person. So false. Okay. What are the different types of resume? Different types. Have you heard these names like chronological resume or functional resume, academic resume? Yes, yes, Tanzeel. Okay. So chronological and functional resume are used by those. Combination resume is another one, three types. These are used by people who are applying for jobs. Okay. The focus of today's webinar is academic resume. Okay, we are not going to discuss chronological or functional. We are only going to discuss academic resume today. So what does the name suggest? Academic. What does it focus on? Studies, as Safa mentioned, very good. Job? No, studies, right? So what do you think would go in an academic resume? For application, yes. Academic resume is for academic purposes, such as applying for graduate programs, applying for PhDs, applying for masters. So you will include your certificates, your grades, your job, yes, if you've done some, your experience, whatever experience you have had, your academic experience. Very good. Okay. Now I'm going to share resume template with you and you need to look at it. So can you see in the chat? Thank you so much, Ms. Feda. Can you see this link in the chat? Everyone, can you see this link? Yeah, please click on the link. So this link will take you here to SharePoint. And from here, you will have to download this. Do you see template academic resume? This template you will have to download. So if I open this template, this is what I see. Yeah. Okay. So you have to look at this template and you have to tell me, what do you see here? This is an academic resume template. This is a template you can use for writing your academic resume once you're applying for a university degree. Okay. So what do you see here? What are the sections of an academic resume that you see on the template? Take 5 minutes, it's fine. You have to download it, save it on your desktop for future reference. Did all of you find this? Good. Okay. So Hussam, Abdul Hamid, Dr. Alia, Abir, all of you. Okay. Dr. Alia hasn't been able to find it. Okay. Don't include private information, include most recent educational institute, include test scores only if they're impressive. Very good. Very good. Okay. All right. So you see here that the first section here is, you see name, address, phone number. This section is called personal details, right? So the first section is personal details. Then you have education, you have activities, you have awards and honors. Do you see references here? No. Do you see work experience here? Yes. Now, how many of you are high school students? Tanzeel, Wael, Mustafa, Mira, Siti, Shamsa. Okay, many of you are high school students. I see Hadil and Prince. Okay. Now, do you have any work experience? Oh, okay, okay. So you can use the link later, Dr. Alia. Do you have any work experience? What kind of work experience do you have? You are in grade 10. Okay, right. Teaching experience. Right. What do you think is your main job as a student? To study, right? And that's why you might feel that you don't have any work experience. But Tanzil here says that they have this volunteering experience to focus on academics, right? Now, see here, look at the tip. If you haven't worked for money, there are two types of jobs you do. One is paid, and the second is unpaid. If you have done some unpaid job or some paid job, that can go in here, like your internship, volunteering experience, okay? Even babysitting, whatever you have done, you can put there, okay? If you haven't done any type of paid, unpaid jobs, any volunteering experience, you can remove this section. It's not a necessary section on a college application resume, okay? Is that clear? So let's move on. Okay, good. Oops, this is the document I shared with you. Now, few of you told me that the focus of an academic resume, because you are a student, is academics. So if, and we know that we have to create a resume around our strengths, we have to highlight our strengths, and academics would be the main focus of an academic resume. So what are the things you are going to include in your academic resume? You told me volunteering, you told me your education, your grades, your awards, extracurricular activities, certificates. Very good, amazing. So that is what would be the highlight. Classes taken, very good. That would be the highlight of an academic resume. Okay, so you see the pink bars. So the points here are all related to what you have studied. Education, relevant coursework, which means the subjects that you studied, the major and minor if you have, or all the subjects that you have studied, and if you have done any projects. So this is all related to your academic work at school. Then you see the yellow ones, volunteering and internships are extra out of the school jobs that you have done, or even within school if you have done any volunteering service. Any internship that would show your skills, that would show your attitude, and these things are important. They can go on your academic resume. Awards, like if you have won gold medal for something, if you have won some poetry writing competition award, some fiction award, some science experiment award, any award that you have won could go here. Languages, how many languages could you speak? Do you know some computer programming languages? Okay, do you have any? Oh, that's amazing, 3, very good. So if you know several languages or even one language, you can put it there, that this is the language I speak. These are my skills. These are my computer skills, my language skills, my interpersonal skills. All those things can go in skills sections here. 5, amazing, Tanzil. Wow, that's very good. Okay, so if you have 5 languages, you will have to clearly show which languages you are an expert in and which languages you can just, understand but probably not speak. I can do ASL. What is ASL, Meera? Can you please elaborate it for me? So, oh yeah, that's very nice. That is, yes, definitely, definitely. If you can do that, you have to mention it on your resume. Okay, now hobbies and interests. Do you think it's important? Hobbies are important. American Sign Language. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Why are they important? Some people think, well, these are just extra things, hobbies and interests. We don't really need to talk about these. Why do you think these are important? Very important. Okay. All of you feel these are important. Why are they important? Very nice. Very nice. To show your personality, to give an idea of who you are, life outside academics, how rounded your personality is, what are your passions, whether you'll burn out or do you know a way of unwinding yourself. Yes. So who are you as a person outside academics, and do you know ways of unwinding, of de-stressing? So it's very, very important. Hobbies are very important. Okay. Now, some colleges clearly mention that you have to, they give a lot of points to sports activities, for example. They give a lot of importance to community service, for example. I know most of the universities in Canada and US, they look for community service. So unless your application has a section of what you have done for the community, they are not going to consider your application very good. Okay, so you have to first of all understand what are the requirements of the specific college or university where you're applying, and accordingly you have to design your resume. You have to pick and choose things. You have to tailor your resume as per the requirements of the college or university. Okay, so some of the universities and colleges focus a lot on hobbies and interests. Okay, so you have to pick and choose. Now, header. So now we are going to discuss the sections of resume one by one. So at the top, what goes? What's the first thing that you saw on the template? Oh yes, Huda, if you have published research, that would be very nice. That would be an edge. Okay, so if you have any publications, if you have any job experience, uh, yeah, definitely, Jamana. If you have any type of job experience, please put it there. Publication, very nice. Okay, so first of all, the first section of your resume always is your personal details. Who you are, what's your name, what's your permanent address, what's your email ID, what's your telephone number. Who you are, what's your name, how can we reach out to you, how can we have you accessible. Okay, so these are very important details that will go there. How about age, religion, marital status? Address is necessary, Abdul. Yes, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's okay if it's not mandatory, but sometimes it's good to have your address there. So yeah, yeah, not necessary. Um, what do you think about this? I would like to hear more from you about age, religion, marital status. What about picture? Picture, don't put your picture unless you feel that it's required. So find out whether picture is required. If it's not required, do not put it there. Okay, they might lead to bias. Very good. So these details also are the same as picture. If they are required, if the employer or if the university asks for these things, please mention them. Otherwise, it's nobody's business whether you are married or not, whether you're old or young, what your religion is. It's nobody's business. Okay, but in case the university asks for these details, put them there. Otherwise, avoid them. Very good. Very good, Hadi. Okay, so that is the first section, right? This is a sample. You see, name, address, phone number, and email. Now, one important thing here is only put that email ID which you keep checking regularly. Sometimes what students do is they give the email ID, but then they forget to check it. So it's very, very important that you check your your emails. Okay. Right. That's right, Marco. Nobody would ask for these details in the US. But sometimes some people might want them. There are always exceptions. I've heard students telling me that, well, we were asked for these details, or there's especially when you fill out an online form. Some resumes are like online resumes wherein you have to fill out a form. You don't have to send it as a document, but you fill out an online form. And there these sections are given: marital status and things like that, date of birth. So yes, then you can give them. Okay, this is an example. So for example, this is the header. This is the first thing that goes there, which is personal details, including name. Yeah, yes, Marco. Name, address, phone number, mobile number, and your email ID. Okay. Second is summary statement. Now, this is an optional section on a resume. Some people like communicating their achievements and interests in 2 or 3 sentences. That is a summary statement that goes after the header. Okay, like I'm this graduate, or I'm a high school student who studied this, and I'm looking for this position at a university to be able to complete whatever. So I'm trying to go, okay, very good, Meera. I'm trying, I'll need to mention my age, and you're required to be, oh yes. Now, see, Meera, if there's something like that, then you can always mention it in your cover letter. Okay, so cover letter is another document that goes with your resume, and sometimes you don't put all the details in resume. There are some details which need further discussion, like I'm 16, so can I, if you have some questions or some pointers like that, you can mention them in your cover letter. Okay, yeah. So this summary statement is optional. Now, practical tip here is that your resume should have enough white space. So if your other sections are too many and you feel that your resume is already getting cluttered, it's advisable to avoid the summary statement. But if you feel that you don't have much to write, then you can include a summary statement. Usually it's an optional section. Okay, what do you think will come after this? What would be the third section? Personal details, summary, what would be the third section? Education, Hadil, very good. Education is going to be the third section. Now, education is mentioned in reverse chronological order. What is that? Reverse chronological. Reverse chronological. What does that term mean? Recent first, yes. Chronos is the god of time. Okay, chronological is time order. Reverse chronological means latest first. Okay, so in reverse chronological order, you have to mention your academic qualifications. So if you are a high school student, grade 12 and grade 10, that's all. Yes, if you are a graduate, then probably first year and then 12th and 10th. Yes, like that, reverse chronological order. So what will you include? You'll include the name of your degree with major. You'll include the name of the institution with city and country. Now, some institutes have branches in several cities, so it's important that you tell. For example, Abu Dhabi University is there in Abu Dhabi, in Sharjah. It's also there, it's there in Al Ain, and it's also there in Dubai. So you have to tell which Abu Dhabi University campus, Dubai or Al Ain or Abu Dhabi. Okay, so city and country, these are the things. Date of graduation. If the GPA is very bad, don't mention it. Okay, only mention your GPA if it's good. That's the condition here. Yes. So, okay, you have to be honest, but it's, you can pick and choose those things for your resume which are your strengths. Okay. Now, good above what? That depends. That depends. You have to do your research. You have to find out, what is the cutoff and like what looks good in which subjects. So it's all subjective. So date of graduation. If you haven't graduated yet, what will you write? You'll write 2018 till present. You don't have a date. You are still working on it, in progress or till present. Okay. GPA, relevant coursework, the subjects that you have studied. If you have done any projects, somebody talked about research. If you have done any type of research, if you have won any awards, writing award, science award, history award, whatever, any gold medals, right, distinctions, all those would go in education section because they are related to what you've done at school. All right. Next, this is a sample. See, so education, for example, MSc in accounting and finance, May 2020, Abu Dhabi University, GPA 3.9, courses A, B, C, D, and project work if you have done. So whatever highlights you have of your education will go in the education section. Okay. Any questions so far? Coursework. Coursework means subject studied. Courses, subjects that you have studied. Okay, papers that you've studied, whatever you have done for your studies. Okay. Then work experience. right? So this is the tricky part. You know, most of my students at the university, yeah, Huda, we'll come to that. Don't put it in education. Anything extra will come in other sections. Whatever you have done at school will go in education. Okay. Yes, but if you have any certifications, that will also go in education. Some extra certificates would go there, but not awards and honors. If you have earned some certificate in programming, for example, or in a language, then those certificates will also go in education in reverse chronological order. Okay, IELTS will not go in education, it will go in certificates. All right, it's not a degree, it's not something that you've studied for, it's just a test you have taken. So it will go in test score. I will put it in skills. I will put my IELTS score in skills section, where I'll say that I got IELTS 8.5 to show that I have these language skills. You know, I'm at this level when it comes to English language. All right, is that clear? So we'll go to those sections. All right. First, education, something that you have studied, degrees, certificates, whatever you have studied for, whatever you have earned will go in the education section. Is that clear? Okay. So work experience. Now, work experience is the tricky area, as I told you. So students feel like they feel handicapped here. They say, we are freshers, how can we have work experience? Okay. That's not the case, because here you can talk about, as we discussed earlier, full-time, part-time jobs, unpaid jobs, self-employment, internship, volunteer work, which most of the students I feel have some kind of volunteering work they have. Practicum or field work. If you have done any research and you've done any type of field work or experiment for that, that can go in work experience. Okay. But if you, social work, yes, definitely, 100%. Social work can go in there, right? Because these things, all those things, you might feel that these are very small and not relevant. They show the skills you have learned, they show your attitude, they show what you're capable of. So put them there. But if you, but yeah, but if you feel you don't have anything to put there, it's fine. Just leave out this section completely. You don't have to talk about work experience if you don't have any. Okay. Okay. Now, how will you put details about your work experience? I'll answer that question, Huda, in a moment. So how will you put your work experience details? Title, job title, date when you did that work, name of the institution, I mean the job you did for certain institutions, so name of the institution for which you did the job, and what were your responsibilities. So these are the details that would go in your work experience entries. Now Huda has a question here. Well, that's a very good question, Huda. Yes, if you have a lot to say on your CV, if you're so lucky that you have a lot to say and you feel that your CV will flow over, your resume here in this case will flow over 2 pages, then you have to pick and choose the best and what is most relevant. This is what we call tailoring your resume to the position. So if you have different types of work, miscellaneous work experience, then you have to pick and choose those which are relevant. In that case, you can have different resumes. You know, if I apply for this university, I'll include these work experiences, and if I apply to another university, I'll include those work experiences which I feel are more relevant to that university. So you always, before applying, you always have to do your research. What does the reader want? What does the employer want? What does the selector want? Okay, so you have to then include only those details. And yes, Jumana, you have to include details about your work, your responsibilities. What did you do? Which skills did you earn during the, your work? No, it wouldn't cause any confusion, Huda. It'll only tell the reader that you can manage so many things. So you can say 2019 till present and 2018 till present, or January 2020 till present. You can include 2 or 3 jobs. It's perfectly okay. There's no problem with that. Oh, yes, Jamana, that's a very fair point. You have to update your resume every time you apply, and you have to create different resume for different applications, not one size fits all kind of a thing. Okay, you can't have a cookie cut thing. Tailor it as per the needs. Dr. Alia, your question is, I'll come to you, Mustafa, just a second. According to the job applied for, I list what is related to volunteer work and training and not everything. Okay, that's fine, Dr. Alia. So yes, if the job that you're applying for requires volunteer work and training, then it's fine. For example, when I create my resume, I do not put all the details there. I put only details which are most relevant. But in case some students feel that they don't have enough to put there, in that case, they can include everything. You know, some students don't have enough material to put to fill one page even, because when I ask my students to write, like freshers to write their resume, they don't know what to write. In that case, it's okay to put everything. But if you have a lot of experience, then you definitely have to pick and choose. So it really depends on who you are and where you are applying. Okay, Mustafa, should the CV have border color or nothing? I don't like borders on CV. Personally, I don't like borders or unnecessary clutter. I like white space. You know, it makes it look more professional. Simple, readable. Thank you, Marco. Okay, so I'll show you an example of how to put your work experience. Imagine there's a student who's applying for masters at some other university, and the student has already done graduation from Abu Dhabi University. Okay, so maximum acceptable length. Yes, Huda, that's a good question. So I would say do not make it longer than, if it's a resume, do not make it longer than 2 pages. Resume is never longer than 2 pages. A CV can be longer. There's no limit for a CV. Okay. We are doing resume writing. So see what the person wants, what the person on the other side of the desk wants. If the person wants a longer CV, it's fine. But usually I prefer a resume, no, because nobody has the time. Okay, and one section can run over to the other page if nothing else is possible, but you should try your best to lock each section in one page and not to let it run over, because it's difficult for the reader to continue. But if it's not possible, fine, it can run over. Okay, font size, we'll come to the font size, we'll come to all those things. Okay, we'll come to stylistic aspects, the font size, the font. Right, Mustafa? Okay, so this is an example of how you can write your experience section. Your title, human resources intern, job title, date, company or institute, Red Cross Society, Abu Dhabi. And these are the responsibilities or roles, updated employee files, screen job applicants, etc. See, student volunteer. If you have to write about your volunteering experience, how would you do that? So the title, date, Abu Dhabi University. And these are the responsibilities and roles: performed internet research, organized academic success center records, responded to student support center queries, etc. Okay. What else? Now, one of you asked about honors and awards and other things, and I told you, okay, we'll come to that. So what else? Now, after you have spoken about your personal detail, you've mentioned your personal details, discussed your work experience and education, you can put whatever else is the focus or the highlight or the foregrounded element of your experience as a student. You can talk about activities, you can talk about honors and awards, okay? You can talk about skills like software, programming skills, languages, etc. You can talk about your interests, but you have to make sure that they are arranged in Order of importance. What is order of importance? So all these sections after education, most important to the least important. Very good, Hassan. So you have your two mandatory sections, which are personal details and education. In an academic CV, you need to have these two, personal details and education. After that, you have work experience, you have activities, skills, honors, and awards and interests in the order of importance. Whatever is the most important for you will go first. All right. So it makes it easier for the reader to process because it's a logical order. More important first. It's more reader friendly to use this order of importance. Okay. And you don't have to include all the sections. Like somebody asked, if the GPA is not good, don't include it. If you don't have work experience, leave it out. Okay. Now, oh, Dr. Alia, what's this question? What is the difference between what? If you want, you can use the mic. Would you like to? Okay, Ms. Feda, can you allow Dr. Alia to use the mic? Let me see if I can do that for you. Mm, yeah, Dr. Alia would like to use the mic. Let me see. Okay, hi, Dr. Alia.
Hi, thank
Yeah,
you, Doctor.
yeah.
Just my questions, what's the difference between resume and LinkedIn? Just يعني resume, it's summary. LinkedIn most يعني like Facebook, like what يعني LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is definitely,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Alia, for
Mm,
your question. So,
mm.
LinkedIn definitely is a social media platform, okay, but it is used for professional connections. Now, there are different types of resumes these days. Like we have a website resume in which people create a full website for their resume, which with hyperlinks. So this link will take it to this work. Okay. Uh, there are video resumes sometimes in which the applicants are asked to create a video summarizing what they have done. So LinkedIn resume or LinkedIn page is a type of web page resume. So that's your page wherein you have put in all the, you've filled in sections related to education and experience and awards and achievements. And this resume that we are talking about is a traditional print resume, which you can either print and send by email, upload it on the website, or probably can, send through any other form like snail mail or like that. So this is a traditional resume. LinkedIn is a web page, is a page on social media platform. So yes, the difference is that employers can search and contact you through LinkedIn. That's a very good answer. Thank you, Marco, for that. Like employers can find you there, but this is this resume you need to send unless you have already uploaded it at a job search website like monster.com or naukri.gulf.com. uh, Employers, unless you have done that, employers will not be able to find you, but on LinkedIn they would be. Have I answered your question, Dr. Alia? Okay. And what was the second question? Okay, this was the only question. Right. Mustafa, okay. Yeah, you need to remove your GPA definitely if it's not good. Only mention things that are good about you. So you are selling, you are selling a product, your resume is like a marketing document, and the product that you are selling there is yourself. So you would obviously talk only about the good things. You don't have to talk about bad things there. Message traffic. Sorry, Huda, about that. No, it's okay if you keep them different. For one university, you can mention CGPA, and for the other university, you can give your score in percentage. That's fine. You don't have to calculate it. All right. So just keep it the way university has provided it to you. Um, the other university, is the other university degree relevant to your application? Huda. If it's relevant, yes, you should include. If your percentage is good, I would say you should include. Don't leave it out. If it's something that adds to your strengths, why not include it? Okay. And if it's not something great, you can leave it out. But you can use two different styles of showing your achievements. Okay. Now, so we are done with the last section. Now, going to style. Right? I told you that we'd be discussing style. Do we have time? We have a lot of time now. So we are now talking about the style. We have discussed sections. So what are the sections? The first one is personal details. Second one is education. Third one is work experience, if any. And then you have the rest, awards and accomplishments, interests, skills, etc. Okay. Now, style is very important. What you are saying is as important as how you say it. So the how part is very, very important. Now, what do you think in resume should we do? Should we write full sentences or lists? Should we make lists or paragraphs or sentences? Lists. Perfect, Huda. So we all know that we have to make lists. When you talk about work experience, you will make bulleted list. Shorter the better. Very good. So when you make these lists, very good, concise, brevity, it has to be concise, it has to be clear, but it has to be complete. These are the three C's you have to follow: complete, clear, and concise. Okay, so for the sake of brevity, you have to use lists. It's easier to read. Very good. Very good. So, Jumana, yeah. So, there are certain rules we have to follow for making these lists. First of all, you have to use parallel structure. What is parallel structure? Parallel structure. What's that? What does the mean? What does the word mean? Have you heard about it in grammar, English grammar? Parallel? Yes, Tanzil. What is it? Same throughout the text. Okay, same is the keyword. Very good. Same. And now in you must have read about parallel lines, right? Parallel lines, like two lines which never intersect, which are parallel, same. So parallel structure in grammar means using the same structure, which means every point in the list should begin with the same part of speech, like same verb, like either each item on the list begins with a verb or a noun or an adjective. On a resume, we prefer that each item begins with a verb. What is a verb? An action word. We know that, right? So each bullet point should begin with an active verb. Responsible. Is it an active verb? Responsible. Was responsible. Is it an act? No, it's not. Conducted. Is it an active verb? Yes. So instead of saying I was responsible for this, say I did this, I created this, I conducted this, I managed this. Arabic. Dr. Alia, is the resume? Very good, Jumana. Dr. Alia, can you explain your question to me, please? Is the resume contact? Ah, okay. A resume, you mean the contact details that we put in the personal detail section? Yes, we'll talk about parallel. It serves the Arabic language. Yes, Safa, we'll come to that. Dr. Alia, would you like to use the mic again so that we can discuss this point in detail? Ms. Feda, can you please unmute Dr. Alia?
Hi, Doctor.
Hi. Hi, yes.
Just I want to ask you, I can write my resume in mother language, Arabic, or just English language? يعني this application is service Arabic language or just English?
Both. Okay. Now, see, the thing is that you can
Thank
write
you,
your
thank you.
Yeah, you can write your resume in Arabic if it's clearly mentioned that it's allowed to apply in Arabic. Okay. Otherwise, if nothing is mentioned, then it's better to use English because everyone would understand English. But if it's clearly mentioned that you can apply either in English or Arabic, you can use Arabic in that case. Yeah. So unless it's clearly mentioned, I would suggest use English language. But this format, this style of writing your resume could also be used in Arabic resume. You can just translate in Arabic if you want to. All right. Okay. Yes, Prince, would you like to use the mic? Can you please unmute Prince, Ms. Veda? We'll come to parallel structure, Safa, okay, in a while. Ms. Veda, can we unmute Prince? Prince, can you try posting your message in the chat? We're trying to unmute you, but I don't see you unmuted yet. So can you, he's allowed to talk. Okay, Prince, can you please talk? Okay, okay, it's clear. The doubt is clear, so he doesn't want to talk. All right. So now these are the stylistic features of bulleted lists. Use parallel structure. Start each line with an active verb. So same grammatical structure for each point. If you have 3 points in your bulleted list, each point should follow the same grammatical structure, which means if the first point begins with a verb, conducted this, the second point should also begin with a verb, managed this. The third point should also begin with a verb, created this. You get the point? So same structure, parallel structure. Tense should be used correctly. If something you did in the past, then you'll use past tense. If you're currently doing it, instead of conducted, managed, you'll say conduct, manage, create. So tense needs to be taken care of. You have to be to the point. You have to provide enough details, but in a to the point manner. So brief but clear. Tailor skills and experience to the college degree for which you're applying. This we've discussed already. Now, this is an activity for all of you to do. I want you to read this bulleted list and to tell me whether it's parallel or not. Jumana, let me look at your question. Details would go under. Okay, put details under. The job description can go in a line, but details will come under. All right. Now, is this list parallel? Not really. No, no, no. Can you convert it into parallel bulleted list? Was, present. Now, was is a verb. Present is a verb. Is new template a verb? New template is not a verb. Leader of university, is leader a verb or a noun? No, it's not a verb, it's a noun. New template is also a noun. Responsible is passive. We don't want passive, we want active verbs. Coordinate is a verb. Yes, so how can we make it parallel? We can make it parallel by, just let me pin this thing here. See, can you see this? Does this look parallel? It's the same list, but in a parallel structure. Does it look parallel to you? Managed, presented, developed, led, coordinated. Yeah, so it looks parallel. And when you read it, okay, it makes sense. It's easy for me to process the information there because it's in the same structure. So using parallel structure makes your writing reader friendly. Stylistically, it's perfect. Okay, so is that clear? Parallel structure, or do you want me to illustrate more? It's clear to all of you? Huda? Prince, this is, see, this is the screen for parallel. This is parallel, and before that was unparallel. This is not parallel because these are different parts of speech. Verb, verb, noun, noun, verb. Yes, yes, Dr. Alia, it would be good. It's always good. You know, you can always seek help from a language specialist. You can always ask someone else to write your, give them the content and to translate it for you or to edit or proofread it for you. You are always supposed to do that. Even for people who are native speakers of English, it's suggested that they get their resume proofread by someone else. You know what happens when we look at one document 10 times? We become blind in the sense that we can't see our own mistakes. We tend to run over the mistakes. Am I right? Like you have a term paper to submit, you've read it 10 times, and then you run over your own mistakes. You don't see them anymore. So you become blind by looking at it so many times. So it's always advisable to ask someone else to do it for you. Okay. Now, quiz. All right, so that is all we had to discuss by way of style and content. And now we are going to move on to, again, true or false, right? So all you have to do is type T or F in the chat box. If I have the same job experience for a long time, do I have to repeat? Oh, yes, same sentence structure. Even then, Jumana, even if you have 10 items on the list, they should all be parallel. Even 20, they should all be parallel. Always use parallel structure for bulleted lists. Okay? It's not boring, it's reader friendly to use the same structure on a resume. Choice of word, no. Choice of word is a different thing. You should use different words. Don't always say managed, managed, managed. Try to look for synonyms. Okay? Try to find different words. Is that clear? And you can use definitely online thesaurus for that. You can find synonyms. Okay. Should you use abbreviations on your resume? No, because like who you used ASL, someone used ASL, right? And when she explained it's American Sign Language, okay, yes, I recall it's American Sign Language. But if you just write ASL, I might not know, the reader might not know. If you write ADU, how do I know it's Abu Dhabi University or something else? So avoid abbreviations on your resume. So it's false, very good. Have someone read and proofread your resume. T or F? To have feedback, very good. T, T, T. Yes, very good. All right, thank you. Good. Use passive structures. T or F for passive structures? No. F, F, T, no, yes. Passive structure is like, it was done by me or I did it, was responsible for is passive, and active is handled, managed. Active is strong, active gives a feeling as if you did it actively, just like passively doing it because it was given to you. So use active structures, not passive. It's false. Yeah. Bulleted list should use parallel structure. T or F? True, 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 true. Very good. True. All of you agree. Use short, concise, easy to read phrases. True. Short, concise, easy to read. Very good. True. Now, this one, okay? Think about it carefully before you answer. Use pronouns such as I, me, my, etc. True. False, 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 false. Okay, most of you say false. It is false, right? Now, see, if you are beginning with verb, managed, where is I? I managed, I handled. But what you're doing is you're dropping the subject. You just begin with the verb, managed. It's understood, it's you because it's your resume, right? So I, me, my, all understood. You do not use personal pronouns on a resume. You begin with the verb, with the action that you did instead of I, me, my. Okay. So you're not writing complete sentences. You have to write phrases, not sentences. So please keep in mind, do not use a full stop. I have seen people beginning with managed and then ending with a full stop. If you begin with managed, is it a full sentence? No, it's only a phrase. And after a phrase, do we put a full stop? No, only after a sentence, right? So you drop the subject, you begin with the verb and drop the full stop. Very good. Balance text and white space. True, true. White space makes it reader friendly. Choose any font. This is, see, we came to this. Choose any font. Any font? I don't know. Okay. Have you seen different fonts in Word? Just a second. How do I escape? No, you should not use any font. There are some funny fonts. You know, there's a font which is called Comic Sans, and there are some Gothic fonts, right? Can you use those fonts? There are some cursive fonts, very flowery, very decorative. Have you ever seen those fonts on a resume? No creative ones, right? Use professional fonts like Calibri. Times New Roman is the best. It should be clear and readable. So, font, not font size. I'm talking of font type right now. I'm talking of font type. So, not any font type, only professional fonts should be used. Serif fonts are good. You know, serif, where you have little lines on the end, like in Times New Roman. Arial is not serif, but it's still good. Calibri, Arial, these are good. But Times New Roman, I love the best because it is a serif font. Mixed fonts are not allowed, Prince. That's a very good question. Mixed fonts, not very good. No. I would say use only one font. For heading, you can increase the font size a bit, 1 point higher, but same font. And serif font is the best. Times New Roman is very good. Okay. So choose any font? No, false. Here, keep headings at 14 point and body text at 12. True or false? Size, you can vary a bit if you want. It's fine. For headings, you can create a slightly bigger font size. Same font, but slightly bigger. So 14 point for headings is okay. It's acceptable. It'll make the heading stand out, but same font. Okay, use a maximum of 5 fonts. False. It will make it look like a ransom note, wouldn't it? If there are 5 fonts. You know, research has said that it's very challenging for the brain to process different fonts. So if it's something which is consistent in the same font, brain can process it easily. So it's more reader friendly if you stick to one font. Very good. Use high quality paper. True or false? True. If you're going to print it out, use high quality paper. When sent online, use Word format. True or false? Word format? False. Those of you who say false, why false? PDF, very good, Safa. Do not use Word format. When you're sending it by email, use PDF. If you're uploading it somewhere, use PDF. Because depending on the version of Word, the look of the resume might differ. What you have put in one page might appear in the second page. Okay. So while sending online, always PDF so that it remains the same, whichever computer opens it. Include references. False. False. Yeah, in the template that I gave you, you didn't find references, right? It depends. Never include references in your resume. There's a separate reference sheet, okay, that could be used. Now, in this, go to the same link that I provided you. Remember, there's a link that you opened and you found a document there, the resume template. In that link, there's another document. Yeah, in this link, there's another document which is called references. So if you go here, you will see this one, references. Do you see this? So if you click on this, you'll see a reference sheet. So this is a separate sheet. You will not include resume references on the resume. It'll be a separate sheet. See, references for your name, references for city, references for Prince, references for Safa, for Marco. Okay, like that you'll say here. Your address, same, all the personal details, and then the references like this. So please download this and keep it with you. All right. So do not include references. Do not make misrepresentations. True or false? True. Okay. Do not include personal information, age, gender, height, weight, marital status, photograph. True. Unless asked for. Number of references would vary, Prince. If you're asked to give 2 references, give 2. 4 is the maximum usually. Okay. So that is all. And again, go to the link. If you go to this link, you'll see 2 resume samples here. Sample 1 and sample 2. These 2 are academic resume samples. You can download these 2 samples and look at them whenever you need to write your own resume. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Veda. So that is it. Thank you so much and have a happy new year. Now, there's one more thing. How many of you are there in the participants? Those of you who have attended this webinar can write to me if you want me to look at your academic resume. Okay. So I'll answer your question, Huda. I'll give my email ID here in the chat. It's only for you, no one else. I remember all of you. I know your names. It's only your prerogative to write to me to take a look at your resume whenever required. Yep. Yeah. So it's here. In the chat, you'll find my email ID, Abu Dhabi University email ID. You can write to me and I'll take a look at your resume. Now, let's go to Huda's question. Yeah, that's okay. A generic reference letter, Huda, would be better, which would say to whoever it may concern, to whomever it may concern, you know, like that kind of a structure on the top, right? So if you ask for that generic reference letter, then you can use it anytime at any point. If you ask your professor to write a reference letter to this university, to this professor, then it'll be stuck, it'll be static, you won't be able to reuse it. So it's better to whom it may concern would be better. Okay. In general, but yes, the professor should not say Huda is a good student. The professor should uh, explicitly mention why is Huda a good student and what good things can she do. Okay, so that would be better. What are allowed punctuations? Jamana, punctuations where? On the CV? On CV, usually full stop would not be required because you would not be using full sentences, except in summary section. In case you want to write your objective or summary, then you might write full sentences. Otherwise, full stops are not usually used. Commas are used because you are going to separate items, I conducted a webinar for this, comma, guided the team members for this, etc. Brackets usually, yes, would be used for dates sometimes. Like you say, I worked at this place or I studied this here. Brackets, August 2020 to December 2020. So you'll use brackets there. That's fine. So that is about punctuations. You can do your research and find out who you are writing the cover letter to. Yes, you should never write your cover letter to. It's not about cover letter, Marco. Reference letter is a different letter, and the reference letter should not be addressed to one person because you would want to use the reference letter time and time again. So the reference letter should be to whom it may concern. But if it's a cover letter written by you, do not say, Dear Professor. Try to do the hard work, find out who the professor is, and use the name, okay, in salutation. So I think that answers Marco's comment. Huda, no, Huda, because that is not relevant. See, if you say that the professor is mentioning your qualities as a TA, then that reference would not be relevant to a position which does not require your TA skills. Okay, so do not use that one. Use the one which mentions skills that are required in your job or in your university position. While for the recordings, you can get in touch with Ms. Feda. Ms. Feda, where can they find recordings of the webinars? Yes, Mustafa, you can leave. Take care. Bye-bye. Body of the email before the CV attachment, Jamana, that is a cover letter. The email that you write is a form of a cover letter. So you'll send CV as an attachment. In the cover letter, you usually mention the position that you're applying for, why you are applying for that position, and how you are a suitable candidate for that position. So everything that you cannot mention in the CV, like how you can go the extra mile to achieve something, how people have appreciated you for certain characteristics, all those subjective things could go in the cover letter. How you are so motivated, how you have always wanted to do this. So what, how, why? These questions which do not get answered in the CV get answered in the cover letter. And there's a template for writing the cover letter as well. So if you want it, write to me on my email. I'll send you those documents. Okay, Jumana? Dr. Alia, there are different CV writing portals that can help you write a good CV or a resume. So I don't know about Weebly. I haven't explored that. I'll do that. If you write an email to me, I'll try to look at it and let you know whether it works. But by the way, MS Word has several templates. You can use those templates as well to write your CV. So it holds your hand and it directs you step by step to writing the different sections of your resume. So either you can use MS Word. If you want me to take a look at Weebly, please write to me. I'll do that for you. Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone. Okay, Safa has a question. Cover letter, I would put my cover letter as email body unless otherwise asked for. Some people require a cover letter. Some people clearly mention that you need to send a cover letter. In that case, you have to attach cover letter as an attachment. Okay, why? Because that could be sent to someone else or uploaded somewhere. Is that clear, Safa? Jumana, yes, templates are good. You can use templates anytime. Yes. But then you are the final person who can say whether the template looks good or not. So you can use templates as a beginning point, but if something is amiss, you can edit it later. Okay, Essa. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and Happy New Year once again. Bye bye.